Hey everybody, it's Natalie from Diaries YouTube talk show and welcome back. Thank you for coming back to spend some time with me and my guests as we inspire women one story at a time. Today we're going to talk to you about something that is not spoken about enough. It's happening out there a lot more than we think, and we need to get it out there because we need to help those who are dealing with it and get them talking. I'm talking about abusive relationships, and I want to read some stats to you, some statistics to you. 1 in 5 women experience some form of abuse in their intimate relationships. So count, you guys. Out of your 5 friends, that means at least one of them are dealing with some abuse in their relationship. On average, every 6 days, a woman is killed by her intimate partner. Not just abused, but killed. Cost of violence against women approximately per year. This is from a 2017 stat. Criminal justice system, $684 million. Police, $187 million. Counseling, $294 million. That's $1 billion in 1 year. A 2016 Stats Canada report says 48% of women say that they were either physically or sexually abused as a child. That's showing a direct connection between childhood abuse and spousal abuse. I want to introduce to you a very brave and strong woman who didn't let her abuser strip away her dignity and found a way to get out and make something of her life thereafter. I want to introduce you, Miss Vanie Coonjah Robins, to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me to your show.
Yeah, no problem. I'm very, very pleased that you're willing to speak and open up about your life and what you've been through. A lot of women are not brave enough. They're not there yet, but you went through what you went through and you're here. So thank you for that. So I want to start off by talking, let's go back a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about that independent Vanie from back home. And what's your home country? Guyana? Guyana. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I say Guyana. Is it Guyana?
Yes, it's
okay,
Guyana.
Good. I got it right. What was she like? And what was life like back home?
Oh, well, that holds many memories. I can go on forever about that. But that Vanie was nurtured from a very shy person into a career woman who was assertive, independent, strive for success, worked so hard to get there, and there was nothing but success in everything that I touched.
What age was it that you left home?
I left there 3 years ago to arrive here.
Okay.
So my life in Canada has been 3 years. Prior to that, my entire life was spent there.
Oh, back home.
Yeah.
And do you have children?
Yes, I have a son, Ricardo.
Nice.
Yeah, that's my life right there.
Is he here or is he home?
No, he's back in Guyana. Yeah.
Okay. And so what brought you to Canada? And what was that a hard decision for you to come and leave your son there?
Yes, it was. Not only leaving my son, but it was leaving my entire family. I'm very family oriented, and it means a lot to me to have a close family. Love brought me here, for most people.
Really?
Yeah. That's why I'm here.
So you fell in love with a sweetheart.
Yes.
And you met him there, or had you been here before and you met him here?
No, actually, he has been a friend of mine for years on Facebook. He attended school with my previous husband. They were kids together, and we became friends for years before we decided to move on to a relationship.
Okay.
So there was that comfort zone of you
you're
knowing a person before you move on to into a relationship.
True, which is also always something that's important to get to know somebody, right?
Yes.
Or you think you're getting to know them anyways. So you're previously married, and then you got married to him. So tell me, we're gonna fast track a little bit and start getting into when things started to go wrong. When did things start to go wrong with that relationship? So you got married, you were here, and things were fine. They appeared to be good.
Yes,
right?
they were, but I would say living with somebody is totally different from just dating somebody. And unfortunately for me, I didn't have a chance to really date and live with somebody to see their every normal lifestyle, because that was from a different country.
Yes, you were in separate countries.
Yeah, I left my usual comfort zone, everything that I was familiar with, and I came here in expectation of what I thought I was dealing with. when I came here, from the time I got married, I would say instantly I saw a totally different person.
Really? So he switched on you that quickly?
I wouldn't say switch. It appeared to be like that to a normal person, but the comfort zone for him stepped in. It was his familiar grounds. Maybe I was too blinded to see that because I was battling on familiar territory. I had lost my independence. I was in a new country, a new life, no career. Everything that I've worked for, there was nothing.
So everything's different for you.
But this person.
Yeah. No friends or family.
Nothing. Just him and me. He was supposed to be my world, my support center. But even that was falling apart from the start.
So tell me some of the things that started to fall apart. Like, what was it that you had to endure? What did you go through?
Nothing.
I'm sure there's going to be enough examples, but we're going to get into the crux of some of the real things that brought it to a head. So tell me, give me some examples of what some of our viewers might sit home and say, they might nod their head and say, yeah, that sounds familiar. What are some of the things that you went through?
It all started with nothing was good enough. As if I was trying to please somebody and disconnecting from my real self. I didn't cook properly, I didn't clean properly, I didn't speak properly. My friends were chosen. Who I spoke to at that time was based on his approval. He never said you had to do it that way, but I was made to feel that I needed his approval, and whatever it took, I needed to do it that way to make it right.
So it wasn't good enough.
Nothing.
Where you were familiar with in your previous relationship or your previous life, that what Vanie did, that the Vanie that you know to be what she did, it was okay. It was good.
Yeah,
was
she
accepted.
inspired.
Yeah,
she motivated. Yes, that marriage fell apart, but I was always made to be felt as I was worthy of being who I was.
Yeah.
It may have fallen apart, but not for who I was.
Right.
It's just that we went in different directions.
Yeah, it fell apart for a different reason. Yeah. So it's something to be noted, because a lot of people, when they think of abusive relationships, that's why I didn't say physical abusive relationship. I said abusive relationship because abuse comes in so many different forms.
Yes, it does.
As I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to list some off, because you can probably, while I'm listing them off, kind of a light might go off in your head because you may have experienced some of them. Abusive types of abuse can come in these forms: abusive expectations, aggressing, constant chaos. There's nothing's good enough. Everything's crazy. No, you didn't do that. Why didn't you do this? Why is this over here? Just everything is always a problem. Denying.
Yes.
Denying you of your ability to do certain things, to make decisions, to go places. Dominating. Invalidation. Emotional blackmail.
Yes.
Isn't that it's a crazy one, because a lot of people don't think of blackmail as something that's an abuse, but emotional blackmail definitely can be. Minimizing.
Yes.
Unpredictable responses. You wouldn't expect, you have a quiet day, peaceful day, you cook dinner, house is clean, you come home and maybe you had a bad day.
It's like you never knew what to expect when that door was open.
Yes.
It's like, what is next? What am I facing today? What will be the problem today? Yeah, it was constant fear.
Yeah. And then verbal assaults.
Yes.
So like you said, you nodded your head to a lot of them. So you went through a lot of that. So any physical, hands-on?
I would honestly say no, but I saw it almost came to a point where it would have gotten there. And I don't think that I could have faced that. The emotional part was enough to the sense that there were times when I woke up and I just wanted to go back to sleep, but I didn't want to wake up. I just didn't want to face the day because I didn't know what to expect, and the pain was too much that when you're awake, you're feeling it so real.
Right.
So
you're this independent person, you know, had a job, took care of family, home. Back home, you come here, and this person is stripping these things away from you. He's stripping them away slowly. So how is it now making you feel? Like, how are you feeling? You're here alone, no friends, no family.
That was then. After I got out,
let's not talk about getting out yet. I want to hear more about this.
With no friends, no
situation,
family?
yeah, while you were there.
I felt pretty ashamed of myself. The first thing I did was blame myself. Because knowing that what you stood for, how could you allow this to happen to you? What are you doing wrong? What could make it right? Should I tell somebody? No, that's not. Who you are now is what nobody knows you to be.
That's the ashamed part. That's the being ashamed part.
Yes. And I just wanted to be alone so the world cannot see this person. I even kept that from the ones I love because I left everything behind, and I did not want people or my family to see who I was.
Right. Well, who you've had to become.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, thinking about some of and how long did you endure what you endured with your ex-partner, with your ex-husband?
7 months.
7 months. So go through some of the weeks or some of those months and tell me some more of some of the things that he put you through that made it hard for you to talk about, because like you said, you felt embarrassment. So now you're able to talk. So tell the viewers, like, what were some of the things that he did? What were some of the things that he said? Like, give me specifics, because I think
there were instances where he would say stuff and he would get me so angry. You don't want to be in the same room with me. I can't stand the sight of you. And this is for a newly married couple.
He's telling you he can't stand the sight of you?
If I stood up to him to ask him a question, he would ask me, how do you even think that way? And you call yourself an intelligent woman? Are you stupid?
Yeah. Emotional abuse.
And when you listen to somebody that you think loves you, would repeat these words to you, you question yourself as a person. Maybe in a different place as a strong person, you would think, that's garbage. What are they talking about? Yeah. But when you're battered down and your emotions decrease to a point where you're suffering with pain, you actually believe what that person is telling you. You believe that you're worthless. Yeah. It's all your fault.
It's manipulation. It's a syndrome, because now you know, maybe he's right. Yeah. Maybe I'm not as intelligent as I thought. Perhaps that's what you're thinking, right? Yeah, it starts to play a number on you.
And then with that comes another factor. In order to control you in that position, keep you right there, comes isolation. So you're away from people that cannot acknowledge what you're going through.
Yeah, you can't talk to anybody about it. No. He's keeping you from people.
And that is something that he tried very hard to keep a grip on.
So you weren't allowed to have friends of your choice? Were your friends his friends?
It was basically his friends, and if there was ever people in my presence, he was present. So he knew what is going on. If I would say something that can click in, well, she's going through something, he can cover it up immediately. She's missing her family. That's why she's sad.
So it's almost like you were wanting to show signs, or trying to show signs by some of the things that you were saying.
I was trying to cry out for help because I needed help. At one point I felt I needed help. Right. But it was very difficult to do that with him always being present.
Were you in fear of your life ever?
Yeah. There were a few occasions where he would yell and scream in my face. And there was an occasion where I almost felt he would have hit me. Yeah,
you were speaking about that before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
that was at the point where I made the choice to leave. And he did not know where I was. But in a cry for help, I decided to go to the police. And even at the point where the police was trying to convince me that I'm in an abusive relationship, because I love this person, I'm making all the excuses even then.
Right.
That no, it's not that. I just need advice how to deal with me. And they did not allow me to go back to that home to live.
You're lucky that you had officers that were that way, because you know you see a lot, or you hear a lot of officers saying, you know what, okay, we'll go home and try again. Like they take the reports, they take the information, but how many times you hear women then losing their life because it escalated into something else?
Yes.
You know, where if the officers had dealt with it at that time and helped you to get out and saw the signs and, you know, apprehended or spoke to the abuser, then perhaps it wouldn't have gotten to a bad place. But they listened and they helped you.
They spent a lot of time with me that night.
Convincing you that you're in a relationship that you're almost denying.
They refused to allow me to go back there. They went back with me and they removed me from there.
So that was what you were saying, that was when you felt afraid of him?
Well, to lead to that point, he was trying to force me to leave the apartment. I didn't want to go because there were other complicating issues to deal with if I had left, because I was a new immigrant, dealing with sponsorship, and
sure
my
you held
whole
that over
life
your
was
head.
in his hands. Everything was in his hands. So I knew I cannot just walk out like that, but I didn't know how to deal with my life. What do? I give everything now.
Where do you go?
I have nothing to go back to. And I had just started working, so I now have a job. I'm trying to move on with my life. Suppose I just try to fix all of this. But at that particular day with the cops, this took the last straw from me. He demanded the phone. And that was my only means of communication. Should anything
He demanded your phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he took that phone from me. And that was the worst fear that I had in my head. Should he get physical at this moment, I cannot even dial 911. I could be dead. So I left the apartment and I went to get another phone immediately. And I can remember, this would be emotional, I sat on a bench and I was crying, not knowing what to do. All I had was my handbag and a phone.
A phone.
And my clothes. The new phone I just bought. And what am I going to do with my life? Do I want to live like this? Who would help me here?
Right.
Who do I go to? I don't know what to do in Canada, where to go, what to do. And a very close friend of mine, a family friend, she was encouraging me to go to the police for some advice. And I made that call to her.
Good. So that got the ball rolling.
Yeah, she said to go now. And I went.
Good. So that got the ball rolling. We're gonna talk about how you ended up really getting out. But during that time, did what you were enduring with your partner, did it change your perception of men?
Not only men, but people. Because, yes, I wanted nothing to do with men anymore. I was like, this is it. I mean, a failed relationship is bad enough from a previous marriage.
Right,
you grow in different directions, whatever. But abuse, in any shape or form, it destroys you completely. And trust is broken because all those words that you would have said, all those promises, it's worthy of nothing.
Right.
And I thought maybe I have me. Then came the anger, the bitterness, the resentment. You were angry and bitter towards him. Or who, and
where
myself.
was at yourself.
And people, because like you feel that the world, it does not necessarily mean somebody else had to do something to make you feel that way, but in a different environment and all your emotions all over, you're just angry with the world.
Yes, of course.
Why me?
Yes, you're
I
taking the
don't
woe is
deserve
me
this.
attitude now.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
get defensive because
Yeah.
I don't deserve this.
Yeah.
And I became a totally different person.
Yeah.
In hurt and pain,
Yeah.
it's a terrible place to
And
be.
you were blaming yourself, as you were saying, right? You were like, you were starting to take on the person that he was trying to make you feel that you were.
Yes.
So that's not a good place to be in.
No.
And then you're blaming yourself. Here you are, you left home, left your family, left your son, and you're here in this situation here.
Yes.
And you're taking it. And you want to get out, but you're not leaving. But I think probably in my head, knowing your situation, was it that you didn't have anything, you didn't have anywhere to go, so you thought, let me stay and try to work it out?
Yeah.
Did you do that?
Yeah, not only trying to work it out. I felt okay. We were single people for a long time, and we were in our own comfort zone, and it would take a while to become accustomed to accommodating somebody else in your life. So here is it, I'm in a new relationship.
You're making excuses for him.
Yeah, and that is what we all do. We find when we want to fix something or fix something that involves another person's emotions, we can't fix that. We can fix things. We can't fix the way people react to us.
Right.
We need to accept that.
Yeah.
It is what it is. You fix you.
Yeah, you can't change people, but by the same token, you don't have to accept the negative, abusive behavior that someone brings to you,
No.
right? If it's a matter of allowing someone to be them, be themselves within reason, then fine, you can accept people and don't try to change people because everybody's different. But if it's someone that's emotionally or psychologically or physically abusing you, yes, of course you want to change that. But if you can't change that, you can't change them, you got to change the situation that you're in.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So often, like we were talking about, women blame themselves and make excuses for their abusers. Try to put yourself in the position of him just for a second. I'm asking you to do something that might be out of your comfort level, but try to be him for just a moment. Not saying he's right in any way, but what do you come up with what may have been his reason for acting the way he did, or doing the things that he did, or saying the things that he did to you?
I think he's just used to having things done his way. And why can't she just do as I think she should do, and it might be better? Why would she have to question what I'm doing?
I think
or
he was
saying?
he was a male, not a male chauvinist, but do you think he was just that dominating person all along? But because you're in a new relationship, you saw a good side of him?
Yes.
But this was the real person that he was?
Yes. And it was his way or no way. And in not so many words, he did say that, his way or the highway. But I would only have been able to hear these words when the bad parts came up in the relationship, because all of that was covered before. So I would say if I could have lived as per on his terms, blacking out all the negatives, subjecting myself to whatever came to the relationship as per his terms, it would have been okay in his eyes.
Right. Yeah.
But that was not going to happen with me.
Yeah. You were stronger than that.
I mean, there comes a point where when this is enough, and we have to decide what is enough.
Right.
Because like you said earlier, sometimes you don't know when to draw the line when it's enough.
Yeah.
And it can cost you scars that are not ever gonna be
Right. They're
repaired.
deep within those scars. You'll live with them.
Or death.
Yeah. And you chose to want to have life.
Yeah,
And you chose life because you wanted to get out and be happy.
there is always tomorrow, and you never know what tomorrow may bring if you don't try, right? And getting out.
And I think that's what the first step is for women to recognize that there is an issue here.
Mm-hmm.
There's an issue, even within themselves, perhaps, that I am being weak. I am being strong and I'm letting someone control me, dominate me, own me. But I am a strong woman, and I'm not going to allow that. There's first recognizing that you are stronger than that.
Yeah.
And then it takes the next step to realize what it is you need to do in order to move on. And that could be years. It could take years. You might be in a relationship and know that you're being abused emotionally or physically. Obviously, you might even have physical marks from it. Thankfully, that didn't happen to you. But you know that and you see that that's happening. But to get to the next stage of how do I get out, the interworkings of that process is a long time. And it takes either something major to happen, something that breaks the camel's back, the last straw, the physical abuse, the police or a friend or a family member finally jumping in, or you just come to the place where no more.
Yeah.
I'm not allowing this anymore.
But how many of us would decide on no more?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us
don't. Hence why the rate is so high, and we don't even know that every 6 days a woman is killed. Would we not believe that she's being abused all this time before she was killed? Why didn't she get out? That's what we always say. We always ask that question. And I have that. People always say, why didn't you leave? But it's not as easy as they think it is. And I always say that nobody knows what's happening behind closed doors. So how many times did you hear that question asked of you?
Many times.
Yeah.
But it's just not easy to just walk. Not
Absolutely.
when you're in that emotion and you're isolated and you do not even recognize that you have a problem here.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You just see it as like, I don't want to be in this this. I just want to fix this.
Right, you know something's wrong. You do know something's wrong, but you don't know how to go about fixing it.
But you don't see it as an abuser and a victim at that point.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You just see it as something, as maybe problems that you want to just go away and it's going to be better.
Yeah.
And you work towards getting it better while being in it.
Yeah. So did he ever say sorry or feel remorseful for anything after you finally left?
No, before I left...
Okay, no, stop. Let's backtrack. When did you finally leave? And how did you get out? Without being too detailed, but let's know how you finally left and how did you get out of that situation?
I left when there was a point of I recognized there was cheating involved, and I addressed it, and he said sorry. We tried to work on that, and I was not okay with cheating, but I've had enough problems so far. Maybe he's sorry, he's genuinely sorry. We're gonna fix this here, and we tried. Yes, he was sorry, probably with words for a few days, but then he turned it all around on me again, and it was my fault. Again, it was my fault.
Well, he cheated. It was your fault why he cheated. Okay.
And
whatever, but go on.
Well, after that, it was like a rigmarole because he realized I had actual proof now of what I was dealing with. Everything else was based on assumptions and maybe in my head, maybe you caused this on yourself, but there was a different thing to look at now. And then he tried to get me to go back home, eliminate me from his comfort zone. I just want out. I don't want people to see me as for what she knows now or what she can bring out. And he tried to get rid of me. He threatened to get me to go back home. He threatened for me to leave the home, and it wasn't working. But like I said earlier with the phone, when he took away that phone, that was my breaking point.
Yeah, when you're sitting there and you're by yourself and phone and purse and like, what are you gonna do? That was your
that phone. That phone was my lifeline there. I cannot contact anybody should anything happen. And I've decided at that point I need help. Needing help at that point did not mean I was leaving that home. I didn't make that decision to leave the home. I wanted help at any cost, and that's when I decided the police.
Okay. So he talks about that he convinced you that you're in a relationship that you need to get out, and they weren't letting you go back home.
there.
Right. So they accompanied you. You were saying before.
Yes, and they removed me from there. I didn't know where to go. Where I live, what would become of me? I had no clue
Where
what
did
was
you
going to
go?
happen. I went to family friends for the night. I spent the night, and the next 48 hours I was desperately on Kijiji and wherever you call it to
Looking
get
for a place to stay.
Yeah.
And you did? You found a place?
The police recommended the shelter, and I called and I asked how you live there. And I was told the conditions and how they book you in and how it works. I could not believe I was placed in a position of leaving my home to be fighting for a roof to stay under with maybe a bag in a room with people.
You feel it makes you feel low, makes you feel like you've hit the bottom of the barrel at this point, doesn't it?
Natalie, back home, my home was a shelter for many people, even strangers, that it became their home for a while until they got on their feet.
And now you're in this position yourself.
I couldn't believe that I allowed myself to come to that point.
Right.
No. It was
okay.
hurtful.
Well, the good thing is, Vanie, you found that strength. You found that strength, and you went there. Did you go to the home?
No.
So you
I
found
an
the place.
apartment.
So there you go. You found the place, and you restarted your life.
Yeah, I did.
So I want to talk. Let's talk happy, positive now. We went through what you've been through, and so you found the strength, and you didn't allow him to strip away that dignity, and you built yourself back up. So you're doing well now.
Yeah, a lot better.
You're emotionally better with it. You know that it's been part of your life. It's something that God gave to you. He put you through it. You now made your way through it, and you're in a better place.
Yeah.
So how is life now for you though?
But the scars are still there. They would always be there. There are moments like this when I have to relive them for different reasons, and they're still alive.
Yeah.
That life will always be alive with me, and it's okay because I don't want it to ever die. I want it to remind me of where I was and where I must never go back.
Again.
I want that to be a guideline for me, where my boundaries are. Where I draw the line, not to explore further or to give or extend myself further. I want me to count for me. I want to love myself enough that when I extend myself to people, they can see the positives in me.
Absolutely.
I must be a motivation and inspiration. And you have to make yourself count for you. Nobody's going to do it for you.
Absolutely.
Your happiness is not dependent on somebody else. Your happiness is dependent on you. You have to give permission to anybody or any circumstances to get into your space. And if
this
you
is what you should
be
telling our viewers right now. You're telling me, I want you to keep talking though, but you tell them. Tell those women that are in this situation. What is it they need to hunker down and find, dig deep inside and find so that they can get out and get a better lifestyle and be in a better position. So keep talking about it.
Don't ever be ashamed. Don't ever keep your story to yourself. Find someone, find a medium, whether it's church, a friend, a relative, the authorities, whether it's a lawyer, the police. There are many organizations that you can step into and you can seek help. Find someone somewhere to start talking about it. Don't even keep it to yourself and say it's just a phase and it's going to pass. If it's a phase and it's going to pass, let them help you to identify that, to help you to fix your situation. You can either better it, you see it's worthy, or you can get out. You know, you need to be happy. Whatever it takes, make yourself happy. Get yourself out of that situation.
One life to live.
Yeah.
One life to live.
Many people are there every day fighting for a life. Some people are battling things that they may not have tomorrow.
Yeah.
You can have tomorrow.
Yeah.
eliminate abuse. There is a no-no zone for that.
There's always a way, and there's always someone there. There's a over an abundance, not too much. You can never say there's too much, but there's so many choices as far as support groups and ways to get out, people to help you, to guide you. Never be ashamed. I've never been in this situation, but you hear it, you see it, you know it's out there, and the same pattern is repeated over and over again until someone finally learns a way or finds a way to get out. I'm just going to share some of the support websites and groups with you before we leave. The National Domestic Violence Hotline, so it's on the web, thehotline.org. Battered Women's Support Services, it's bwss.org. And of course there's Facebook groups, Domestic Violence Victim Support Group. Reach out. If you hear this, you've heard what Vanie has had to say. Thank you so much, Vanie, for being here. Is there any parting words? You said a lot. Gosh, I feel like I need to leave the room and let you take over because you're doing so wonderfully with getting your point across. I want everybody to take the time and watch this, watch it again, share it with anybody that you know needs to see this, and take from it that you've been there. Other people have been there. Vanie has been there, but she's made her way out of it. She built herself back up and realized that she's not going to allow this to happen, and she got out. She sought help and she got out. And she's now here. You're remarried.
Oh yeah, you see, that's a better part of it.
Yeah, you're remarried.
I was even able to allow somebody into my space.
Absolutely.
And it was never meant to be that.
Yeah.
All I was looking for is for a friend.
Yeah.
You know,
There you go.
and I met someone. Don't ever let your experience make you bitter.
That's beautiful.
Let
That's
it make you better.
A great end to this story.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy to hear this. I kept that for the end because it's to show that you will find love again. You can find love again. And I thank you for being here and sharing your story. It's a very touchy and vulnerable subject. But thank you, viewers, for watching and for listening. Please, this is an important video to share. Like, subscribe, share it. See what else is happening with High Heel Diaries on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. It's all under High Heel Diaries. HEAL for healing, because that's what we're trying to do here. Heal your soul. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Take care.